Hey everyone, and welcome to this Urgent Explainer. Today we are breaking down a massive, frankly unprecedented financial shift, the sudden 2026 collapse of the SAVE student loan plan. Look, if you hold federal student debt, the rules you've been relying on for your financial planning, they have fundamentally changed, completely rewritten. So, we're going to unpack exactly what just happened, what this new system actually entails, and precisely what steps you need to take right now to protect your financial standing.
But before we get into the weeds of how we got here, I really need you to just focus on this staggering number for a second, a 90-point drop. And I want to be clear, this isn't some worst-case projection by an economist. This is a hard, very harsh reality. This number represents the immediate financial impact hitting everyday borrowers who are just caught completely off guard by this sudden transition between repayment plans.
That 90-point drop, that is the average credit score plunge hitting the millions of borrowers who have already fallen into default in 2026. Because this transition was so incredibly abrupt, a lot of folks simply didn't realize their payment plans have been completely dissolved. And the thing about today's digital financial ecosystem is that credit algorithms, well, they react to federal default triggers almost instantly. Within a single 30-day reporting cycle of missing that transition deadline, people's scores plummeted. And a 90-point drop on your credit score? That can literally mean the difference between getting a mortgage and being denied outright, or between securing an apartment lease and getting turned away at the door. It's a severe administrative penalty, and it is happening right now.
So here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to cover the 2026 default reality, the strict 90-day switch deadline, what's actually inside the new RAP plan, the very real cost of doing nothing, and finally, we'll wrap up with your step-by-step action plan.
Okay, let's dive right into Section 1, the 2026 default reality.
To really understand why the SAVE plan even existed and why it's abruptly shutting down, we have to look back at the timeline. Remember, for years, the federal system relied on those pandemic-era loan pauses. It was a massive safety net for millions. When those pauses finally ended, the government introduced the SAVE plan to basically cushion the blow, right? It offered some incredibly generous terms for lower-income borrowers to stop runaway interest. But SAVE immediately hit a wall of sustained legal challenges. A coalition of states filed injunctions, arguing that the plan completely bypassed congressional budget approvals. At the exact same time, the Department of Education hit a massive funding gap. They realized the interest subsidies were costing billions more than they initially projected. So, without legislative backing to secure that funding, the legal injunctions held firm. Which brings us to 2026. Those structural pressures literally broke the system, resulting in the total shutdown of the SAVE plan. No grace period. The program is officially closed.
And that abrupt shutdown brings us to Section 2, the 90-day switch deadline.
So, because the plan is gone, servicers have imposed a strict 90-day countdown for you to actively leave the defunct SAVE plan. If you are on SAVE, your servicer is giving you a 90-day window, and that clock is ticking, to manually transition your account to a new active repayment strategy. This is a hard, non-negotiable administrative deadline. If that 90-day clock runs out and you haven't taken proactive action to select a new plan, you don't get a warning, you are automatically flagged for default.
Let's move on to Section 3, inside the new RAP plan, to see what you're actually transitioning into.
Now, you might be wondering, how different is this new plan? Well, there is a stark mathematical contrast between how your payments used to be calculated under SAVE versus the new reality of RAP, that stands for the Repayment Assistance Plan. Under the old SAVE plan, your discretionary income protections were huge. They often sheltered income up to 225% of the federal poverty line. That's why so many borrowers had $0 monthly payments. RAP entirely changes the math by redefining what discretionary income actually means. It drastically lowers that poverty line exemption down to just 150%, freeing up a lot more of your income to be factored into your repayment. Plus, RAP introduces a much stricter formula tied directly to your total principal balance. They've implemented a 5% baseline multiplier on large balances, and that applies regardless of what your current income level is.
Let's put some real-world numbers to this so we can see exactly who pays more and who pays less under these new RAP calculations. Take Sarah, for example. She's an entry-level worker earning a low income of around $35,000 a year. For her, RAP actually heavily subsidizes her payment, keeping her monthly burden manageable and pretty close to what she paid before. But then consider David. David is a middle-income earner pulling in a median salary of about $65,000. Because of that lowered poverty exemption we just talked about, he will absolutely see a moderate increase. His payment is going to jump from near zero to around $150 a month. And then there's Marcus. Marcus is a high-balance borrower who went to grad school and accumulated $90,000 in principal. Even if Marcus is only making an average salary, that new RAP formula aggressively targets his large principal with a new multiplier. The result? A significantly higher mandatory monthly payment that could easily exceed $400.
With those real-world scenarios in mind, we really need to look at Section 4, the cost of doing nothing.
Listen, if you miss this 90-day deadline and you just sit back and do nothing as collections resume, the penalties aren't something you can negotiate. They are automatic. We are talking about immediate wage garnishment. The government bypasses you completely and takes the money directly out of your paycheck. They will also initiate federal tax refund seizures. That means any refund you were expecting this spring, gone, intercepted before it ever hits your bank account. Add to that the severe credit score damage we discussed earlier, and it becomes crystal clear that the era of pandemic payment pauses is officially over. It has been completely replaced by highly active, modernized collections.
And please do not assume this is only happening to folks who have historically struggled with managing their finances. Actually, scratch that. The statistics are incredibly sobering. The average affected borrower falling into this crisis right now, they're 39 years old. And most importantly, this average borrower was completely current on their payments before the pandemic pauses even began. I mean, just imagine the reality of a 39-year-old professional with a flawless 10-year payment history. Because they simply missed a bureaucratic email buried in their inbox regarding the shift from save to RAP, they missed the 90-day window. Within weeks, their pristine credit was frozen and they found themselves blocked from refinancing their own home. These are established, responsible adults whose entire financial lives are being upended by a simple administrative oversight.
But there's good news. You can avoid this. Let's get into Section 5, your step-by-step action plan. Okay, so here is your clear, actionable plan to execute with your servicer, literally today. Step 1, log into your official student aid account and check your loan status. Do not rely on third-party apps for this. Go directly to the official source. Step 2, formally enroll in the RAP plan. Yes, it might mean a higher payment for some of you, but it protects you from the nightmare of default. Step 3, and this is a big one. If your application is pending and your 90-day window is starting to close, you need to explicitly request an administrative forbearance while you're switching. You do this by looking for the specific transition forbearance form located right on your servicer's online dashboard. Submitting that legally pauses collections while your paperwork processes. And finally, Step 4, pull your credit report. If you were unfairly penalized with that 90-point drop during the confusing transition window, aggressively dispute those default errors, specifically citing the servicer transition.
So, I want to leave you with one very critical question. Have you checked your official loan servicer account today? Look, taking action on your official servicer site right now is literally the only way to secure your financial future in this very unpredictable post-save era. You need to get your RAP transition sorted today. But, as millions of borrowers navigate this incredibly chaotic switch, it really does leave us with a much larger question to think about. If our federal financial safety nets can just collapse this abruptly, how is this level of uncertainty going to reshape the way future generations weigh the true cost of higher education? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and please go take action on those steps immediately.